Has bodybuilding gone too far? It's almost 2024, and over the last 2-3 years in the rise of TikTok and other just content-based platforms on social media, the fitness space in particular has blown up. Now, as social media has shifted from a friend-sharing platform to a content-based platform, going from the old days of like MySpace and Facebook, more towards something like Instagram Reels and TikTok, where it's more so catered towards content that is meant to be consumed instead of building a connection, fitness in general has skyrocketed probably more than any other industry in the world. Some would probably argue that there has never been a better time to get into the fitness industry. There is more opportunity than ever. Whether it's cooking, training, nutrition, writing workouts, or even supplements, and multiple billion-dollar companies have sprouted up in the last 3 to 5 years due to the increased popularity of fitness as a whole. But one thing I really want to talk about today is the effect that it is having on young people. If you go to the gym, there is a 100% chance that you have noticed that there is far more young people than there used to be. And by young people, I'm talking anybody from the age of 16 to 20. They're still in high school or college, and they're clearly most of the time getting the reins of fitness, but some of them are more advanced than others. When I started in the gym, I was 15 or 16 years old. I was terrified, but the big thing that I noticed was there was nobody else there my age other than the friend that took me there. This is completely different now, and TikTok and other social media platforms are to blame. We have so much access to so much content just being thrust down our eyeballs all the time that the style and sport of bodybuilding has become a gigantic trend and is affecting young boys around the world, especially in the United States. So today we're going to talk about the effect that bodybuilding has had on this younger generation, along with its increase in popularity and what it means for the future. So firstly, let's start with the cons. Outside of seeing a bunch of scrawny teenagers running around with tripods and ring lights 24/7 hitting the Z's pose all the time, there's really not too many cons to be said. As somebody who works in the fitness industry, I will say that I am seeing a growing amount of people spewing poor advice just because they've been in the gym for a year, but unfortunately that will always be happening. There will always be people who think that they know more than they really do. The one primary downside I would say to fitness and bodybuilding becoming more popular in the younger generations is it is sort of skewing the relationship with food that younger men have. Being a young man or a young woman anywhere from the ages 15 to 18 is very difficult as it is. But when you start viewing food as purely numbers for fuel to make your body look more aesthetic or have a better physique, it's only going to add more fuel to the fire and more stress to an already incredibly stressful time in your life. So because of this, and I don't have any specific data in front of me, but I would almost guarantee that younger people with eating disorders has unfortunately increased due to this. I'm not saying all people that start bodybuilding are getting into eating disorders or approach it in the wrong way. I'm just saying when you have a million more people in the younger generation all following these bodybuilders, there are bound to be a few that don't approach it in the correct way and will end up harming themselves inadvertently while trying to chase these physiques. You could argue that I was a part of this initially as well. When I started my weight loss journey, it was because I started following a bunch of different YouTubers and I was inspired. And even though they were speaking sound advice, I was interpreting it incorrectly as a young person and ended up starving myself for several months. And it was not pretty. I was lucky enough to give myself enough time to unlearn those habits and lose the rest of the weight the correct way. But still, it's not a journey that most young people want to be a part of. Now, let's talk about the pros. Now, the biggest obvious to the pro of bodybuilding and social media is that there are more people in the gym. There are more people that care about their health, and that's always going to be a good thing, especially in a world where a larger percentage of the population is going to end up doing some sort of level of remote work, thus decreasing their overall levels of activity. Having fitness as a priority from an early age will only aid them for the majority of their lives. And not only the physical attributes of strength, mobility, and dexterity, stuff like that, it's also going to teach them invaluable lessons about life and discipline and consistency. Different traits that will carry you far further than anything else in any other aspect of life, especially within their career, their finances, their relationships. If they learn the importance of discipline early, it will only help their situations. And honestly, I truly do believe no matter how much you can make fun of the younger generation for wanting to be these influencers and the amount of people that are trying to push their codes and just like young people in general around social media and the fitness industry, no matter how cringe you want to call it, it's a good thing. It is overall, I'd say, a net positive. Now, that does bring up to my next point, in that social media has also skewed the average child or young adult's desire for their careers. When I was going into school, we had a lot of people that wanted to be engineers. We had a few people that obviously wanted to go into theater. We had a lot of people that wanted to be athletes. We had people that wanted to go into coding and software development, people that wanted to go to business. Now, every generation has their different dream jobs. Our parents didn't really care what they got. All they cared about was just getting a high-paying job. My generation, it was really good to be an engineer or a software developer or a nurse because that's where the money was. Nowadays, you see the younger generations and you ask somebody, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? They're not really going to say movie star. They're not really going to say musician. Very shocking amount of them are going to say that they want to be some sort of influencer or content creator. And I don't know how I feel about that. But you cannot blame them for wanting this decision. The life of an influencer or a content creator seems pretty incredible from their perspective. How they're perceiving it is they're watching the content, the person gets to do what they want every day, and they're posting content and they make money off of their videos and their sponsorships. It sounds like a very easy lifestyle. And overall, comparative to a lot of other career paths, it is. I just probably don't think it's super contributive to society's well-being that we have millions and millions and millions of people that want to be social media influencers. It's a lot of influence, and I don't think we need that much. But I would say that's probably more of a comment on just social media as a whole and less of the fitness industry. My overall opinion on having people younger and younger joining the fitness industry is, as long as they're doing it safely, I am a wholehearted advocate and supporter of it. There's a group of younger guys that are still in high school that come to my gym now, and these guys have seen some incredible progress. They seem far more mature than I was at their age, and I think it's doing good things for themselves and for their lives. Now, obviously, there will always be some bad apples. You'll always get that guy that is just abusing his ego and his physique, and he's using it to brag 24/7, especially at a young age like that. You, of course, will get people like that. But on the macro, I think going forward, the age of young bodybuilders and the age of social media, although there are some very strong negatives, overall is a positive for society and for themselves in general, simply because we are building a community of stronger, more disciplined young men and women from an earlier age. And in a world where more and more of us are stuck behind screens for work and for leisure, spending 2 hours at the gym seems like a pretty big plus to me. If you enjoy this video and like my content on YouTube here, please consider dropping a subscribe button. I'm still trying to figure out kind of what videos I like typing to make on here, but over on TikTok, obviously, I am the weight loss guy, the food coach guy, the food swaps kind of guy, but I'm using my YouTube to kind of experiment with different styles. So comment below what you want to see next from me. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Keep it simple, big fella.